The family of three brothers who died after being treated with contaminated NHS blood products have called for a public inquiry into the scandal. Barry, David and Vincent Farrugia were among thousands of haemophiliacs who contracted HIV or hepatitis C after being treated in the 1970s and 80s. The Department of Health has said it had more than doubled its annual spend on payments to victims.
The president of the Haemophilia Society, Lady Meacher, is calling for a full public inquiry into a scandal in which the NHS used contaminated blood products to treat thousands of patients in the 70s and 80s. It follows criticism of a new support scheme which victims and their families say will leave people affected in England and Northern Ireland tens of thousands of pounds a year worse off than those living in Wales or Scotland. Andy Evans, who was infected as a child, describes the impact the contamination had.
During the time that I didn't know, I was visiting the Children's Hospital in Birmingham, and a lot of other people, haemophiliacs, were coming alongside me. And one by one, they were not coming anymore. They were dying, and they were dying of AIDS. And we're talking children from 3 to 16.
People infected by NHS contaminated blood in the 70s and 80s say a new government support scheme is grossly unfair. Survivors and their families in England could receive tens of thousands of pounds a year and less than someone living in Wales or Scotland. The crossbench peer, Lady Meacher, wants a full public inquiry.
Can you imagine what that means to people who are very sick, who've had a lifetime of misery and ill health? And in Scotland, the same people will be receiving £37,000 a year. How is it this country can be so cruel to some very sick people who are only sick because of errors made by the NHS and government?
The victims of a scandal in which the NHS used contaminated blood products to treat thousands of patients with haemophilia in the 70s and 80s say a new government support scheme is grossly unfair. Survivors and their families in England and Northern Ireland could receive tens of thousands of pounds a year less than someone living in Wales or Scotland. Andy Evans was infected as a child.
During the time that I didn't know, I was visiting the Children's Hospital in Birmingham, and a lot of other people, haemophiliacs, were coming alongside me. And one by one, they were not coming anymore. They were dying, and they were dying of AIDS. And we're talking children from 3 to 16.